Hi, thank you everyone for joining. We're just gonna wait 1 minute and then we'll get started.
All right. Hello, hello. Thank you for joining our webinar. We have a great group of 9 attendees. I'm so happy that you've joined us. I'm going to go ahead and pass it over to our interpreters to explain how to use interpretation services if you need them, and we'll start with Ivy.
Hello，早上好，欢迎参加今天的外立面改造补助金的网络研讨会。那么今天我们会提供中文翻译、实时翻译。如果您需要听取中文的翻译的话，请在过一会儿点击下面地球仪的图标上面的 Chinese，选择收听中文的实时翻译。谢谢，Thank you。
Thank you, Ivy. Esperanza.
Hola, buenos días. Vamos a tener servicio de interpretación en español para poder asistir en el canal. En la parte de abajo tienen un botón en el cual indicarán que quieren hablar en español, que quieren escucharlo en español y ahí estará la interpretación simultánea de todo el webinar. Gracias.
Thank you, Esperanza. So interpretation services are available down in the Zoom options, and I've just started those now. So if you need those, please join those audio streams. All right, I'm going to go ahead and get started with our slides. Thank you for joining us. We're here today to talk about the Facade Improvement Grant. The Facade Improvement Grant has been around since 2024. And we just recently brought some changes to City Council that were approved, and that has created some more flexibility in the program and expanded who is qualified to use it. It now includes all storefront retail and nonprofit storefronts or facades and office facades as well. So if you are from one of those three groups, you're in the right place. So glad to have you. So we'll start with some introductions to our team. We are the Economic Vitality team. Our fearless leader is Amanda Rotella. I'm joined here today by Kirsten Hines, and I'm Tony Gomez, and Kirsten and I are both economic development strategists. The Facade Improvement Grant is managed by our team, and we're here to help you with your business needs. We are your advocates within City Hall, and we have several efforts underway to support business success in the city. The Facade Improvement Grant is just one of those programs, and our contact information is here if you would like to reach out to us about other business supports. All right, we're here today to talk about the Facade Improvement Grant Program. Many businesses in Mountain View have already used this program to improve their storefronts, and one example is here. Junbi Matcha and Tea used the Facade Improvement Grant to buy these decals and their sign, and just overall, this whole storefront, I think, was supported by our grant program. So, great example of a business in Mountain View that's already using the program. Let's talk a little bit about what a facade is. The facade is the face of your business, so it is really important that you enhance the appearance to appear established, maybe sophisticated, depending on who your clientele is and who you're trying to attract. The front of your business should really tell everyone what's going on inside, what products might be available in there, and what they can expect when they walk in. In Mountain View, there are several sign ordinances that really encourage wide open windows where customers can see into your business so that your business is inviting and people know what to expect if they were to go inside. So, there are a lot of changes that you can make using the facade grant program. You could add new signage. You could use it to enhance your lighting to make your storefront more inviting. And we'll go over a few of those features in the next slide. These are the elements of a facade. Facades include awnings. Awnings, we encourage you to use sturdy fabric or canvas awnings and avoid vinyl waterfall awnings, which can deteriorate quite quickly. We love signage that is simple, clear, and consistent. Exterior lighting that illuminates signs, window displays, and the features of your building. Windows that allow customers to see into your business and understand what you offer. Fresh paint makes a huge impact. If your storefront needs a paint job, that is definitely something you can use the grant funds to do. It makes a huge impact. Paint is one of the things that can just really turn a business around and make it look completely different. And doors, you can also use the facade grants to improve the accessibility of your business by replacing doors to be accessible and compatible with the front of your storefront. We can also help you with historical features like cornices, columns, plasters, arches, friezes, pretty much any little flourish that's on your building. If it needs repair or care, that is also something that you can use the facade grants for. And a note about historical features is that you should really make sure as a business owner that you understand the historic status of your building before you touch anything on the facade of your business. You might be surprised to find that your building is protected under the Mountain View historic preservation efforts. And you can find a list of the properties that are protected if you just visit the Mountain View website and search for historic preservation. There's a list there that you can check and see if your building is part of what is protected under the Historic Preservation Register. Please keep this in mind because if you were to make changes and then we were to find out that you were protected under this historical register, then you might have to go back and undo those changes and restore those features at a really significant cost to your business. So this is really something to be very careful about. Kirsten, do you want to talk about mural grants?
Sure. So separately from the facade grant, you can also apply for the mural grant program. So this separation of the mural grants allows businesses to work directly with local artists to get matching grant funds. So artists can apply on behalf of a business owner or property owner. They do need their consent, but you are an artist would be allowed to apply on their behalf, and the grant funding will be the same as the facade grant program.
Excellent. Thank you. Slide. Let's see the Zoom anymore.
It's on.
Okay, great. So this is the application process and what to expect if you apply for one of these facade grants. You will first need to fill out an application for the program, and for those of you who attended or registered for this webinar, I will send you the application after this webinar in your email directly. You will submit your application along with your business license, W-9, and property owner authorization along with your application to me. We will review your application to ensure it aligns with the program's goals. And if approved, you'll receive access to design services if you need them, which is a fantastic resource for crafting a strong facade plan. You'll collaborate with a designer to create a plan, and then you'll submit your plan to the city along with your project estimate from your vendors. Once we have your plan and your application, we will enter into a grant agreement with you, and it will be time to make your improvements. You will carry out the work with your vendors to make the improvements in your approved plan, and you'll need to keep proof of the improvements, your invoices and receipts, as those will be really crucial to be reimbursed. So you're going to work with your vendors to complete the improvements or purchase your signs. You submit proof of your improvements, your invoices and receipts. The city will review your improvements, and if the improvements are deemed complete, you will be reimbursed 75% of the cost of the improvements up to $15,000 maximum. I'm going to go to the next slide for a couple of examples. For the facade improvement grant, you could make some small upgrades like new signs or an awning. If the cost of the improvements was $5,000, the city would reimburse $3,750, and your business investment would be $1,250 for a total project value of $5,000. For major improvements, we can help you access and reimburse design services. We will reimburse 100% of design services up to $2,500. So that is those first two lines there with the 2,500. You would, pay the cost up front of $20,000. We would reimburse you, the business, $15,000. And so ultimately your business investment, if you make major improvements, would be $5,000 in this case, with a total project value of $22,500, which includes the design services that the city reimbursed. And here are some notes about prevailing wage. Because this is a public grant, all grantees must follow prevailing wage requirements per the California Department of Industrial Relations. In our case, prevailing wage laws will need to be followed when the total construction cost is $15,000 or more, or for new construction specifically, the threshold is $25,000. Grantees are responsible for ensuring their project is in compliance with the prevailing wage law and that it is registered with the Department of Industrial Relations. This requirement does not apply to murals. So here's some examples of the prevailing wage threshold. If you were to buy some signage and max out, do $14,000 in signs and awnings, prevailing wage would not be required. However, if you were to do a paint job that was $15,000 or more, then the prevailing wage requirement would be triggered. This is also true like for any combination. It's just the requirement is really triggered by the total cost of the project. So if your total project cost exceeds $15,000, you will be required to comply with prevailing wage laws. And this last line about signage related to new construction, if your project cost for new construction is greater than $25,000, then you will also have to comply with this law. On this slide, we have some information here about another grant that is available. This is a $5,000 grant that businesses can use one time to purchase outdoor furnishings. This includes chairs, tables, umbrellas, outdoor heaters, and small planters. This is separate from the facade improvement grant, and it is 100% reimbursed. If you are a business who has already used this grant, you cannot use it again. But if you have not used it already, please reach out to us and we'll be happy to add this into your overall application for the facade improvement grant, and see if you can qualify to purchase some outdoor furnishings as well. That was a lot of information. Thank you for listening, and we're happy to answer any questions you might have. You can use the Q&A feature in Zoom to submit your questions. Okay.
So there were 2 questions submitted in the Q&A chat box, and just to make sure everyone knows the answers to those. So first question was, does the grant cover restoration of previously removed historical features? The answer is yes, definitely, and we'll want to talk with individual applicants one-on-one to just verify what the project is and what those historical features are, and we can talk more specifically about what that process will look like. And then the second question is, would we have to start or complete work on a specific schedule or within a deadline set by the fund granting approval? So the deadline is a maximum of 2 years, and this is really depending on the project scope and the various kind of permitting requirements. And so we'll work with each applicant to talk through what that timeline will look like.
Tatiana, I see your question on the fixing your interior lighting on your display windows. I believe that this is acceptable because it's anything that can be perceived from the outside of your business. So if we're adding lights inside to light up your window displays, I think that's completely acceptable. And Frank, I see your question. You have an estimate of $5,000 for new signage. How can the grant help? So that's takes us back to our first example, right? That was in the slides. I will go back. You are looking at new signs. Your cost of improvements is $5,000. You would apply. You'll submit your W-2. W-9. Thanks, Kirsten. Your W-9, your business license, proof that you are the building owner or that you have permission from the building owner to make those changes. And then we will process your application and we will reimburse you $3,750 once you make those improvements. You'll pay for the improvements up front, and then we will reimburse you after the improvements are made.
And I want to add too that as part of the process, applicants will still be required to go through regular city permitting processes, and so we'll make sure to help each applicant through that process and help you identify exactly what you need to do and which steps, and so just making sure that everyone understands that.
Anita, I see your question about applying a mural to the parking lot side of the building, and absolutely you can use the grant for that, the mural grant. So I think Kristen and I will get in touch with you to pursue that, because we definitely want to spruce up the areas of our buildings that face the parking lots. I think that that is often the first impression that people get when they're coming into Mountain View and into our downtown area specifically. We would love to see more murals on the backside of those buildings. Tajesh, I see your question about as a hotel, can you apply? I believe that if you're, we're going to have to look into this a little bit more. My inclination is that if you're zoned commercial, it might be acceptable, but we're going to have to look into it and get back to you. And I have your email. I will definitely reach out and get you some more information about that. How much total money do we have to disperse? I think that enough.
I think the rough total right now is 120,000, and we're hoping to continue to be able to have this funding year over year to be able to help support our businesses.
Yeah, we hope to be able to renew it. So there is, I think, several $1,000s available. Tatiana, can permit costs be reimbursed? Absolutely. Yes. That would be part of that first phase of the application process where you submit your plans. We would reimburse you for the permits, and this can be like a multiple reimbursement process. So if you come forward, you pay for your permits and say the materials for your improvements, we can reimburse you for some of that, and then you can come back and show the improvements, and we can reimburse you, for example, for the cost of the labor of installing those improvements. So, frontage pavement, I don't think is included, as it's not related to your storefront exactly. Frank, we will see if we can find you any other information about how to improve your frontage pavement, though. Would you favor for-profit businesses over nonprofits? No, there's no real tiering or any ranking of these applications. It's a first come, first served program. Submit your application, and if your improvements qualify for the program, they will be approved as part of this grant. I love all these questions. Thank you guys so much for engaging this way. I know it can be a little one-sided, so please get in that Q&A and ask any and every question you have. We're also going to give you our contact information again at the end of this webinar so that you have it and you can reach out to us directly. Front door. Yeah, you can replace your front door using this program. Absolutely. Okay. I'm going to give it 2 more minutes for questions, and I'll go ahead and share this last slide with my contact information. We're really thankful that you came to this webinar. This program is an exciting one that can really make a difference for our business districts in Mountain View, and we are open to any and all projects that align with our project guidelines, our grant guidelines, and really want to work with you to move you through this process. So technical assistance is available. Let's go back to the questions. Can we paint the whole outside of the building? Yeah, as long as I think that that's totally fine as long as some portion of your building faces the street. I think when we talk about painting a whole building, might be a big project depending on the size of your building. So you might want to think about those prevailing wage requirements if that's something that you're going to pursue. Does adding blinds or drapes count towards improvement? I think if they are being perceived from the outside of your business, potentially savvy. Let's talk some more about what that can look like. I know that blinds can be an important part too of just like keeping the inside of your business pleasant and making it feel, more homey or presentable. Is general maintenance of exterior walls covered? Tatiana, let's talk about what you have in mind. If it's like repairing plaster or tile, or some kind of other restoration that would improve, the overall impression of the outside of your business, I think that is very possible. Front door and also a security gate. Really depends on what you have in mind, Candace. We would want to see a kind of a mock-up of your plans and make sure that they align with all of the planning and building codes for like retail storefronts. Indoor window displays. Yes, if they are being seen from the outside of your business, they are covered. And that could be lighting, could be accessories, shelving, signage, those types of things. Flag cleaning, I don't see why not. If it's in your overall proposal for your facade improvement, I think that could be fine. Great, great questions. This is awesome. I'm gonna give it. Can we go back in time? Frank, I see your question that you've already spent some money repairing your facade. We cannot go back in time and approve improvements that have already been performed. One of the requirements of the grant is that we have kind of some evidence of what the before and that we approve the improvements and then we will reimburse you once they are made. So we can't go back in time, but for future improvements, we can definitely get you qualified for the program. Buying pride flags for your building. I'm not sure. I will ask. That you are participating as an anonymous attendee, so I can't really see who asked this question, but if you want to reach out to me via email, tony.gomez@mountainview.gov, I'd be happy to look into that for you and see what the answer is for that. And I think if anyone's feeling shy, don't be shy, get in the chat. All right. If there's no other questions, I will go ahead and just end with my thanks and gratitude for joining us today. We really hope that you'll take advantage of this program and reach out to us to get started. And we look forward to seeing all of the great improvements and changes that you're going to make to the front of your businesses. And all of those changes will certainly benefit our economic development here in Mountain View. So we're excited to work with you to make them happen. Thank you so much for joining us today, and we'll talk to you soon.